Benjamin, good to see you here in our little studio in Copenhagen. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me.
First, tell me, YouTube means business. Why are brands engaging on YouTube, and what does YouTube offer these businesses in return?
Interesting. I think YouTube essentially captures the voice of the digital video generation. I think that matters because it's happening at such scale, 1 billion unique users a month. So these are numbers that you can't ignore as a brand or even as an audience looking for entertainment, education, etc. And I think that video is one of the most effective ways to communicate with your customers or with your friends or whoever you're trying to talk to. And I think as a result of that, and the fact that the technology has evolved and it's become so mobile and personal, it was inevitable that a platform like YouTube would rise to the top. And
when you go to YouTube, is it every segment within your audience you find there, or are there some segments that are more likely to be able to get in touch with via YouTube?
Yeah. So YouTube has something for everyone, the weird and the wonderful. I think typically, if we think about it from a Danish perspective, the majority of the audience fits within the 18 to 49-year-old age range. But that's not to say that a 60-year-old is not using it to find out how to fix their car or how to do exercise in the house, for example. I think that the content itself speaks to everyone. I think as the device adoption, so tablets, mobiles, and broadband connectivity becomes more prominent, we will see older and older demographics taking on board.
So it's evolving.
Yep.
You have a profound experience in making content solutions and strategic partnerships in and around YouTube.
Yep.
What piece of advice do you consider to be the most important in regard to create a content strategy for YouTube as a business?
Yeah, good question. I think the first thing to establish is, what do you want to get out of it? I think that typically what tends to happen as new digital platforms come along, every marketer knows that they have to be present. I think the first thing to establish is, what's it going to do for your business? How can you get return on the effort you'll put into it? And also to pay close attention to, are you actually getting towards those goals along the way? And that's the beauty of working with digital platforms. You can track that success in real time.
And if you should give me an example of what goal I should set up for my business, what kind of goal should I be putting on my paper and in my strategic decision making?
Yes, certainly. I mean, I think any typical brand, one of their first goals is to have significant reach in their audience. So reach, relevance in terms of, if I'm reaching my audience, am I spending time with them, qualitative time? So, the beauty of video means that if it's a 5-minute video, you can spend 5 minutes with your customer. I think this is a fantastic development in the evolution of marketing. I think reach, contact, and engagement. And engagement can be anything from how long you spend with your customer to the actions that they take as a result of seeing that content. Should be the first things that you should think about.
So should you be putting content on YouTube, or should you have your audience create content that you can redistribute?
Yeah. I think that as with every medium, and YouTube is no different, the brand should always have their own position and their own content to communicate their core brand values, product, services to their target audience. I think if you take a brand like GoPro, and this is obviously quite an extreme example, the beauty of what they've done is that they've empowered their audience to tell the story with them and for them. And I think the beauty of the platform is that from a playlisting perspective, for example, you could create a playlist of 10 videos, 2 of which are your official brand videos, 8 of which are videos created by the audience that really speak to your brand values as well.
So a combination is ideal.
A combination is good.
Yeah. I know that you think that analysis and optimization should happen in real time, but what does that really mean, and how should we go about the data side of this question?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think speaking purely from a branding perspective, there are a couple of tools that are readily available to track your success on the platform. We have a tool called BrandLift, which is a survey tool which you run alongside your advertising campaign, and you can track uplifts in awareness, ad recall, purchase intent, etc. I think this, from an advertising perspective, is a given that you should run that. I mean, from a marketeer's perspective, you need to know if the content you're making is having an effect. From a general content perspective, we recommend staying in close contact with your YouTube analytics account, which gives you the capacity to measure a lot of different KPIs, all the things that are relevant around, is your video working, for which audience, which device, etc. To be realistic about it, if you're new to the platform or new to building your content strategy, bringing that into your weekly or monthly updates on how you're performing is a good starting point.
Okay, and in order to get an audience on YouTube, the emphasis should be put on creating content that is, of course, discoverable, accessible, shareable, and collaborative. But what is the first important step when you are getting on YouTube for the very first time? What are for every novices out there, what are the first things that I should be doing?
Yeah, use the platform. If I'm a brand manager or if I'm a person in the audience and I want to understand what it's all about, use it. You can't read a document that tells you what YouTube is. Just go on there.
So I think to explore.
Absolutely. I think a brand has two things that they should do as a very first step. One, go onto the platform and find something that's personal to them as an individual and enjoy it. Two, go on and look at what your peers are doing in the same market and in other markets to understand how brands are using the platform. And then the third thing is work out what it's going to do for you.
And can you do groundbreaking mistakes using YouTube?
Absolutely. I think that the beauty of the digital age is that you can make mistakes and you can quickly respond and capitalize on those mistakes and not do it again in the future. But I think that one thing to say is you shouldn't be afraid to fail as a brand on a platform like YouTube.
And of course, my last question, you're a bit biased, but should every business be on YouTube?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
if not, who shouldn't?
I think every business can be on YouTube. Because every audience is on YouTube in different capacities. I think if you asked 3 years ago, would Volvo Trucks be able to be successful on YouTube as a platform to speak to truckers, you'd probably say no. And it turns out, in fact, that they've had a really, really successful content strategy which had a halo effect of A, connecting this brand with an audience that weren't interested in buying a truck necessarily, and B, making sure they were front of mind for people that were. So I think there's a place for every brand on the platform because there is every kind of audience on the platform.
Okay, Benjamin, thank you for talking to me.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.